Sometimes things just don't work out. So here's when licensing issues, development concerns, and even the closure of a motorsport series prevent sim racers from having nice things. Let's face it, driving game and sim racing development is tricky. Very tricky. Having the idea to add certain cars and tracks is just that, an idea. You then need to find the time, budget, and licenses to make it happen, and even then, sometimes things fall through at the last minute. Here then is some motorsport content that we, the sim racers, nearly got in the virtual world, but didn't quite. And listen carefully because some of these stories have never been told before. The Project Cars series of racing video games inspired a generation. It paved the way for simulation-like games in the mass market, on both PC and consoles, while its accessible lobby options spawned sim racing leagues and esports competitions. Back in late 2011, when the embryonic game was in its crowd-funded World of Mass Development, or WMD phase, the anticipation was palpable. Through a series of excitable blog posts, the development team would update its community with progress reports, plus confirmation of upcoming cars and tracks. One such post ran through a deal struck with French car manufacturer Renault, and within the list of cars was the 1999 Laguna used in the British Touring Car Championship. While the Renault Sport DLC car pack did arrive in 2015, the Laguna was conspicuous only by its absence. As it turns out, there was a complex web of details that prevented it from ever even existing. Two problems came to light with this car, explained Jan Friskorn to Traction. These days, Jan is a senior producer on the upcoming Project Motor Racing and worked on Project Cars back while it was being created. The first was licensing. The car was not a real works car, and Renault was not sure it owned the complete rights, as the car was built by Williams and run by a private team. Back in the mid to late 90s, the Laguna only ran in the BTCC, and not Europe-wide championships using the same Super Touring rules. The car was funded by Renault UK, not the French company's HQ, and it employed the aforementioned Williams, as in the wildly successful F1 team, to turn the family hatchback into a race car. Renault could only give us the rights for the road car, but not the BTCC version, liveries, drivers, etc., continued Friskorn. The second issue was references. We were not able to find a car to shoot for reference material. The super touring cars of the era were notorious for intricate engineering, bespoke to each car and team, and keeping them running in the present day is said to be excruciatingly expensive. There's little doubt in my mind this would have been an epic addition to the game's roster, with its highly strung engine, low stance, and incongruous coffee-sponsored livery, but alas, it was not to be. At least recently, racing Lagunas have appeared in Grid Legends and Hot Lap Racing, so there's hope that such a mess of licensing, permissions, and finding working examples is now less fraught. Maybe it will finally appear in a contemporary simulation soon, after all of these years. More touring cars will pop up later in this video, but before then, an Australian GT racing behemoth. When the BT62 project was announced back in 2018, it marked the return of the storied Brabham name on motorcars. Sir Jack Brabham still remains the only driver to win the Formula 1 World Championship for his own eponymous team in 1966. This new project was a track-only car for affluent wannabe racers, and also spawned a planned road-legal conversion kit, plus a BT63 GT2 spec race car variant. This version specifically was used by High Class Racing to enter rounds of the Fanatec GT2 European Series. So when the official game of said SRO stewarded events, Assetto Corsa Competizione, announced it was releasing a GT2 car pack, surely the Brabham would be included. Sadly, it wasn't. While every other GT2 specific model, or car that was provided dispensation to compete in the real-world competition, is available for ACC, the BT63 remains absent forever. To say that the Brabham Automotive project went through some challenges is a little bit like saying the Nürburgring Nordschleife has some corners. It's underplaying it a little bit. They, as in Brabham Automotive, never replied to any email or communication, explained Marco Mazzaruto to Traction's Thomas Harrison Lord last year. After a brief introduction through SRO, where we presented to them the project, where we were going and so on, we didn't have any other contact. We pushed them quite a lot because it's a beautiful car, and we didn't want to release the GT2 pack without the Brabham. Ultimately, Brabham Automotive ceased to exist entirely in late 2023, heading into 2024, when the GT2 pack was being developed. While this mid-engine beast appeared in other games prior to Competizione's DLC, such as a version in Automobilista 2, on paper, it seems like it would be quite the challenge for anyone else looking to recreate this model henceforth. From one company under financial stress to another, and the burning tire pit that is Motorsport games. Okay, that's perhaps a little bit harsh, what with Le Mans Ultimate now proving itself to be very worthy, but at one point, all hell was breaking loose. The Miami headquartered operation was once set for world domination, with a series of agreements to make games for NASCAR and IndyCar, alongside Le Mans and WEC. It also announced a dedicated British touring car game, much to the excitement of those who grew up in the 1990s and wear rose-tinted spectacles. But a standalone BTCC game could be a difficult sell in this era. No matter, Motorsport Games had a cunning plan. We must first briefly look at the old TOCA games by Codemasters. Take 2006 TOCA Race Driver 3. It featured a multitude of racing disciplines from Clio Cups to monster trucks. It also had licensed V8 Supercars and DTM, the premier German series content. In Australia, this game was actually released as V8 Supercars 3, and in Germany as DTM Race Driver 3. Motorsport Games' plan was akin to Codemasters' localization, but for the modern age. It was to create a BTCC game, but aware it may be a difficult sell globally, the plan was to augment it with DTM or Australian Supercars DLC. But those DLC packs could work on their own, so alternatively, you could buy a Supercars game, and then buy optional DTM or BTCC content. Or yes, a DTM game and then add BTCC or Supercars. Essentially, a series of glorified content packs built on the same game engine known as the Touring Car Framework, sold as individual games with optional expansions. My plan was to get the British Touring Car Championship game done and make it operational and successful, said Motorsport Games CEO Stephen Hood to Traction recently. Then, over time, you could buy into British Touring Cars as a standalone product and add DTM, or you could buy DTM and add British Touring Cars as a DLC pack. So your entry points were different, but it was the same core product. The same with Supercars in Australia. We had a deal on the table, and I could have signed that, but I said, I'm not going to do it because I've got to focus on Le Mans Ultimate. So they could all stand as the official game, but you could then add the other two series. The plans to create all of this content fell through due to the company's financial challenges, which is a long and tortuous story for another time, that not only led to the cancellation of this content, but a possible R-Factor 3, another NASCAR game, and an IndyCar title. But whole cancelled games are a story for another time, we're just covering content in this video. At least the BTCC license was used for R-Factor 2 DLC, and the company was able to turn Le Mans Ultimate into one of my favourite multiplayer racing experiences.
Whether you're just starting out your sim racing journey or you're a seasoned pro looking to upgrade your cockpit, Next Level Racing likely has a product that suits you. It has a wealth of options from premium aluminium profile rigs to portable wheel and monitor stands. If all of this interests you, then do make sure you check out its website via the affiliate link in the description below. Doing so also helps support this Traction channel. Oh, and also, by using that link, you get a 5% discount if you go on to purchase anything from Next Level Racing. So really, it's a win-win.
Do you know what sim racing doesn't have enough of? Yes, Mallory Park. For those inside the UK, this is an obscure choice, and for those outside of this island, we'd be very impressed if you're even aware of this diminutive Leicestershire venue. The larger contemporary championships tend to stay away from this venue, but it did hold the FIA European Formula 2 Championship in the 1970s, and the British Superbike Championship until 2010. It even features an inner oval layout for stock car events. And of course, how could we ignore the annual Boxing Day Plum Pudding races? Go and look that up if you've never heard of it. The main road course layout is characterised by a seemingly never-ending opening right-hander, and near the end of the lap, an impossibly tight hairpin. If you get it wrong, there are 2 lakes to avoid on the inside of the venue. In 2012, popular sim racing service iRacing announced it had struck a deal to create this track. Thanks to our new partnership with the British Auto Racing Club, we're pleased to bring Thruxton, Croft and Mallory Park into the fold, said then Director of Partner Relations at iRacing, Davina Galitza. At the same time, we're expanding our existing relationship with Motorsport Vision to add Snetterton to our catalogue of great racetracks. The British Auto Racing Club is excited that Thruxton, Croft and Mallory Park will be available on iRacing, said Bill Coombs, BARC Managing Director at the time. Well, Snetterton did make it. Thruxton arrived last year, and purportedly, Croft is on the way. But Mallory Park? Yeah, it seems as if that's long dead. It's been 13 years after all. I assume that this deal fell through somehow, and the recent Croft and Thruxton partnership was a separate, more recent partnership. According to a development blog by iRacing, its team visited the UK in 2024 to scan 3 locations, later confirmed to be Cadwell Park, Thruxton and Croft. Rockingham, the UK one by the way, not North Carolina, an oval and road course venue opened in 2001, is also absent. And this is despite a formal announcement that it was in development for the platform in 2015, and even the publication of an image depicting laser scan work at the venue. It's a shame it's never materialised for iRacing, as the real-world venue is now no longer used for racing, instead owned by used car purveyors Cinch, well, its parent company, Constellation Automotive, predominantly for used car storage and YouTube content creation. It would have been a virtual preservation project. Sadly, during research for this video, iRacing declined to comment about Mallory Park to Traxion, so we'll never know why this venue never arrived. If you are after an official, scanned, licensed version of Rockingham, however, you can't always rely on the venerable Live for Speed. I'm literally never disappointed when I come back to this game. Moving from the UK to Sweden now, this Nordic nation has had a long and storied association with tin-top touring car racing. In the 1990s, it used the Super Touring formula for the STCC, recently seen in a Raceroom DLC pack, before it transitioned into the S2000 rule set. But when that formula was getting a little long in the tooth in 2011, the organisers and teams couldn't decide what to replace it with. The STCC went for the BTCC's then fresh NGTC rule set, that's too many abbreviations. But some of the teams revolted, such as preeminent driver and outfit owner Jan Flash Nielsen, setting up their own championship for 2012. It was called the TTA Racing Elite League and used a space frame chassis from France, plus a 3.5 litre V6 engine derived from Renault road cars, which was also used in the middle of the one-make Renault Sport Megane Trophy race car. A silhouette body was then placed over the top, helping the field imitate the likes of the Volvo S60, Saab 9.3, Citroën C5 and the BMW M3, although that wasn't allowed to use the Munich brand's badge or grille design. Maybe the fact that it had a Renault engine put off BMW? The political mess also had sim racing implications, as the developers of the aforementioned Raceroom wanted in, but couldn't, due to TTA folding once some common sense prevailed, and it merged with the STCC in 2013. I was really hyped for that silhouette concept to make it into Raceroom, head of KW Studios Jean-Francois Chardon said to Traxion. We had, after all, released 2 successful STCC games, we had all the tracks and the pedigree, great talks and meetings with the organisation, and the TTA silhouette was going to provide great online racing. We were going to start production of the Skodview racetrack, back then we had our studio in that town, and the Polestar car as a start. We only had the time to estimate costs though, and it was all over before we could draw the first polygon as they folded right there and then. Ultimately, the STCC became a TCR series, the TTA silhouette vanished, and we couldn't do content or events for the STCC anymore, as we were only ever granted the rights to the FIA WTCR, not the National TCR series. Strangely, however, remnants of the TTA concept found their way into Forza Motorsport 6 and 7. The Volvo S60 Polestar Cyan Racing is a car from this series, from a season after the STCC merge. So one variant did make it into a racing game, but it wasn't in the sim with the majority of tracks and Swedish legacy. Oh, what could have been. Speaking of which, Raceroom also confirmed to TraxionGG that it too was working on official British Touring Car Championship content at one point, but it was beaten to the punch by Motorsport Games in terms of the licensing. We had also been chasing the BTCC license for a while, but lost the fight against MSG. That also could have been a few more official touring car packs for Raceroom, with current as well as historic BTCC classes, continued Chardon. But we are doing the next best thing, adding individually licensed cars in a super touring car class. And who could argue with that? I mean, these Super Tourers, this Super Touring pack, was definitely up there amongst the best sim racing content available in 2024, perhaps alongside the DTM 95 pack, which was also Raceroom. And I do hear there are more Super Tourers on their way, so keep your eyes peeled for that. It truly is a crying shame that we never got to experience any of this content, but hey, that's business. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. The question is, which of these pieces of content would you have been most excited to try? And can you think of any other cancelled projects you would have loved to have had your hands on? Do let us know down in the comments below, and whilst you're there, hit the like button if you found this video enjoyable, and consider, if you haven't already, subscribing to this Traxion channel for more racing game content like this in the future. If you don't want to miss a single upload, you can also hit that little notification bell. Until next time, thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.